Concert of the Year. My name is Mariah Thomas, and I am the director of the Middle School Orchestra, and this is the end of my 4th year teaching. Every year gets better and better. I cannot believe how talented these students are and how quickly they learn. And thank you for trusting me and letting me teach them and be a part of their musical journey. Even if they don't continue playing, which most of them intend to, which I love, it's still such a vital part. They make friends in here, they learn responsibility, patience, practice, all that stuff, and I'm so thankful for that. Tonight, for our part, you will hear 2 pieces that we performed at WKU in March. We performed for a panel of judges who gave us scores and comments and feedback, and we received the highest scores possible for both of those pieces. Thank you so much. So those will be Burst and Moonlit Skies. And there's some awesome pieces. The other pieces that you'll hear, they might sound, some of them might sound familiar, and then there's another one that's also really upbeat, and I let the students pick those. And they're very challenging pieces, but they've all put in the time and effort to make them happen, and you can tell the energy. I think you'll love them just like I do. So also just to note, before our last piece, I will be recognizing the 8th graders because I only have them for 2 years and they're going to be leaving me. But so I will recognize them, but our portion will be quick and sweet. And I hope you enjoy our middle school orchestra. so just as promised, I'm going to recognize our 8th graders really quick. I wish I could give you a little spiel about how each one means to me, but we would be here all night. I see these 8th graders 3 times a day. I see them first thing in the morning, and then again for last class, and then when they're going home for afternoon homeroom. So we get to know each other very, very well, and I hear all of the things, all of the gossip, all of the drama, and, but I wouldn't trade it for the world. That's part of being a middle school teacher. So part of the thing that I'm going to share with each of these 8th graders is I'm going to have them stand, and I'm going to share how long that they've already been in the strings program, just to show you that there's a lot of retention in here. Like, these kids really love it. I love it, and I hope that they keep going, and I'm so proud of how long they've been a part of this. All right, so if you'll stand and then stay standing, and I'm going to go through alphabetically. We have Allie Bush. She has just started orchestra this year and is doing phenomenal. This is her first year in orchestra. We've got Maria Arenas, and she began in the WKU pre-college strings program, so she's been playing for like 6 or 7 years now. We've got David Huffman, and I started him 4 years ago. Alyssa Loxton, she began 3 years ago. McKinley Mowry, she began 3 years ago. Catherine Peacock, she began last year as a 7th grader. Lily Shaw, I also started her 4 years ago. A.K. Wright, there you are, 3 years. Kennedy Whiteside, 5 years already. Tessa England, started last year in 7th grade. Caleb Kilgore, 4 years already. Taven Hudgens, this was his first year on bass, and he is killing it. And Seamus Stewart has been trying to. So, of course, these 8th graders are my leaders in the program, and they're going on to high school, and if I talk about it too much, I'll cry. But no matter how long they've been playing, they all help each other out, and they blow my mind every time. So thank you for helping me recognize them. All right, so last but not least, we have a really fun piece called Across the Plains. And whenever we're finished, we'll have a quick transition to the high school, at which we hope you stay for. And thank you so much again for being here.
evening, everybody. Thank you again for being here. I know that the orchestra program had a wonderful greeting from the middle school director, but I also have to extend my thanks. Thank you so much for being here tonight. I know the weather is going to be a little shaky out there, but I appreciate you braving that front to be here. On stage is the Barren County High School Orchestra, and similar to Ms. Thomas, I have been teaching for a long time. This is my 12th year, but the end of my first year here. And I am incredibly blessed that you allow your students and children and nieces and nephews and grandchildren and grandbabies and everybody under the sun to be a part of this program. Tonight, we are going to be performing something I'm calling A Day in the Life. There's a selection of music that kind of follows the day of your student throughout their high school career. So we start with this morning idea, the generic good morning song, which is rudely awakened by what they need to do the rest of their day with the spirit of adventure. Then we follow it up with the bold venture, the hope in what they're going to be doing for today. Then the revelations and edge, which is those hard decisions they have to make throughout the day, whether that's with friendships, their grades, their tests. Then we're going to take a slight break. I'm going to honor the graduating seniors, if you can believe it. And we're going to play our final piece together, which is the hymn from Jupiter, which is the planet of joviality or joy. And I thought that was a touching way to end the concert. So let's give your students one more round of applause and we'll get started. them their certificate. And really, in that certificate is a generalized senior letter that I've written for them. And I read it to them before we came out on stage today, so everybody got to hear it. And on the back of that letter is a personalized handwritten letter that I do for all of my seniors. And it's something I started about 10 years ago, and it was just a touch to know that something that you've worked on, a teacher you've had for multiple years in a row, is giving you their last words of advice. And I find that it was really nice. And then in the box that they will be receiving is a plaque that pretty much states the same thing. So as we recognize these seniors, give them a good bit of a woohoo. They're about to take a big step into the next stage of their life. So let's get this started and then we'll finish up. If Madison Coots could come up, Lorna Conkle, Isaac Hutchinson, Ash Jones, and Parker Moran. If you guys can all come up and stand at the front. You can leave your instruments on your chairs if you'd like. Now, I've been told that this tradition is not something of a tradition here, so I decided to start it. But it's just a little memento for everybody to know that they are seen and they are appreciated. And especially in a place where the fine arts usually aren't acknowledged. So this is their moment. So let's give all of these students their round of applause. One final piece all together. So I've been fondly calling this our senior farewell, but it is the hymn from Gustav Holst's The Planets, this theme from Jupiter. So you might have heard it, but it is my favorite. So one final piece, all of us together. sorry, 10 years are hard to break. Barren County Trojan Orchestra YouTube, and all of our concerts are posted there as well, with some of the fluff I've edited out, like the chair changing and things like that. So if you ever want to share them or rewatch them or nostalgia, they will be on there for you, and I'll make sure your students have those links as well as Ms. Thomas. So thank you again. Enjoy your evening.